Welcome to another edition of the Backyard Professor videos. I'm Kerry Schertz, the Backyard Professor. I'm discussing this argument by the critics against the Book of Mormon that there is nothing in favor of the Book of Mormon archaeologically, historically, or linguistically. I believe that argument is fundamentally false. Consider the piece of evidence I have also. Echoes and Evidences of the Book of Mormon, published in 2002. Shipbuilding in Ancient Arabia. This is on page 128 and 129 and 130. In Joseph Smith's day, the Arabian Peninsula was not well known to the Americas, and it was generally understood to be a desert wasteland. Of course, Arabia, Saudi Arabia. It was devoid of lumber that could have been used for shipbuilding. That's been one of the arguments against the Book of Mormon Nephi building his ship. There now exists convincing evidence that an obscure location at the extreme western end of Oman's Dhofar coast, Khor Karfat, is the probable location of Nephi's manifold, where he and his family constructed the ship that carried them to the Americas. Ancient Oman, which is the likely location of Nephi's manifold, this was, in the 20th century, finally recognized for its ancient shipbuilding, a fact that allowed the ancient Omani to earn recognition as the Phoenicians of the Indian Ocean. Oman, with its borders on the Arabian Gulf and the Indian Ocean, is relatively geographically isolated, and its history, according to archaeologist Michael Rice, is most notable a record of Oman's marriage with the sea. Her people have always been very energetic and very seaworthy. They've been very capable sea people, capable of building ships to cross the Indian Ocean very easily. Her sailors were the foremost seamen of Islam. Interesting. As early as 3000 BC, evidence exists of Omani contact with the other cultures in the Gulf region. Early records speak of the ships of Magan, an ancient place name usually associated with Oman. Ancient Oman played an important role in early trade routes, and along with the city of Dilmun, probably situated on Bahrain Island to the north of Oman, this served as an international center for trade by the sea. Long before 600 BC, their trade linked India, Persia, Mesopotamia, Africa, Egypt, and eventually China. In ancient times, it was the natural location to build and to launch a ship for a journey eastward into the Indian Ocean. It is highly improbable that Joseph Smith or his contemporaries knew that southern Arabia was home to world-class mariners and shipbuilders for millennia. This has only recently been discovered in the last century and written about in our century by the archaeologists. The reputation of ancient Oman as a center for shipbuilding demonstrates fundamentally that the necessary materials for the successful constructions were available in the land in Lehi's day. Isn't it ironic that the one geographical location at the end of the logical trail following through the Arabian desert ends in a region that has trees big enough around that you can't wrap your arms around them? The Foundation for Ancient Research and Mormon Studies have sent scholars and archaeologists, ethnologists, biologists over to this region, and they have demonstrated, they have shown dozens of pictures. They have an entire film on this area. It fits perfectly with what Nephi described. There are high mountains, as high as 7,000 feet on the coast. Because of those mountains, the mist from the ocean blows in, and it really covers the place with phenomenal vegetation. Actual trees, big enough to build ships. And now the archaeologists are saying this was an ancient shipbuilding culture. And in fact, it was happening for millennia before Nephi even arrived. This is another evidence that the actual geography, the description of the topography, and the actual cultural situation, the actual physical ability to build a ship, it used to be marked In the sands of desert? Yeah, right. Nephi built a ship. No. On the coast of Oman where they arrived. That's where Nephi built his ship. This is beautiful evidence and confirmation that the argument against the Book of Mormon, that it has nothing going in its favor, that argument is simply false.